after brilliantly solving the previous case that had him untangling a complex family web. The young Belgian detective Hercule Poirot is tasked with safeguarding a valuable painting on its journey to London, aided by a young insurance agent named Hastings. The initial relationship between the two is not easy due to Poirot's excessive meticulousness on one side and Hastings' naivety on the other. However, as readers of Agatha Christie's stories will already know, the two are destined to walk alongside each other for a long time, starting with this seemingly trivial case. Things become more complicated when the painting is stolen in London during the unveiling ceremony in the presence of a small group of selected guests. Who is the real identity of the thief behind this seemingly impossible theft? Nothing that Poirot's famous Belgian grey cells can't unravel. The story of Hercule Poirot, the London case, is quite layered and interesting enough to hold players' attention throughout the adventure. However, in my opinion, it might be slightly less engaging than that of the first episode, perhaps due to a less successful cast of characters compared to the first cases. On the other hand, the treatment of the relationship between Poirot and Hastings is well done. As I mentioned, it's not initially idyllic and often fluctuates between highs and lows due to their character differences. Like in the previous adventure, the gameplay of Hercule Poirot, the London case revolves mainly around the deduction system. By analyzing scenes and talking to characters, new details will gradually be added to graphical representation of Poirot's thoughts. These details then need to be connected correctly. Compared to the first game, the number of deductions has been slightly reduced, avoiding including even the most obvious ones. This has lightened the experience a bit, which I personally found a bit regrettable. In addition to deductions, Poirot will sometimes engage in specific dialogues where he uses the evidence at his disposal to support his theories. However, the verbal battles that characterized some key moments in the previous adventure have been removed. Lastly, it's a shame that Hastings hasn't been utilized in any way, relegating him to the role of a sidekick and listener without a real purpose in the gameplay. Unfortunately, this time as well, the game does not allow for the possibility of making mistakes. It's always possible to arrive at the correct conclusion, even by guessing randomly, without the game penalizing us in any way. Completing the experience are some small puzzles that involve using a limited number of items from our inventory and some saves for which we'll need to deduce the right combination. Overall, the gameplay experience lasts around from 7 to 8 hours. Those who have played the first cases will feel right at home with Hercule Poirot, welcomed by the isometric view that presents polygonal models, perhaps a bit too simplistic, and not always perfectly animated, but still enjoyable. The choice to replace the 2D sprites during dialogues with zoom-ins on the models certainly adds dynamism, but it also often highlights some polygonal limitations. The game's environments, on the other hand, are highly detailed. Additionally, the ability to rotate the camera fully complicates things at times when searching for active points, because some objects are often visible only from a specific angle. Now, this makes it important to analyze the surroundings from all directions to avoid the risk of getting stuck. The game's soundtrack is pleasant and certainly atmospheric, but apart from the main theme, it lacks that extra touch that would make it stand out and memorable. On the other hand, the English voice acting is very good, with only one character that didn't quite convince me. The London case is a pleasant adventure that, just like the previous one, is quite simple and guided. The only way to get stuck is to miss some details in the environments. Nevertheless, it remains a recommended purchase for those who enjoyed the first cases.